Lindisfarne. This is a wild place. Storm Betty moving up through the Irish Sea this morning and affecting most parts of the UK. It was meant to be a nice trip to Lindisfarne. Okay, so I'm going to be leaving Eyemouth in about an hour and heading south towards Lindisfarne. It's about 4.5 to 5 hours sail. I've got an upwind sail up to force 5, so I'm expecting things are going to get wet. But the reason why I want to get there is because if I stay here, I'm going to get stuck here for at least 2 to 3 days, and at 27 quid a night, I'm even more keen to move. So it's been brilliant to come here. Really nice. There's plenty on offer. Shops and bars, etc. And it's really well protected here. The entrance is a little bit it puts the EBGBs up you a bit, but if you follow the track line, you get straight in between the rocks and you're absolutely fine after that. Just plugged my set in, hopefully get that fully charged in the next 45 minutes, and that should put me in good stead for the next sort of 2 to 3 nights at anchorage. It's just us leaving. Expect the entrance to be a little bit gnarly. We'll see how it goes. Okay, to the left, Eyemouth. Pretty choppy across the bar, but now sort of into deeper water. It's okay. Probably a little bit under canvas here. It feels like I am. Maybe not. Yeah, quite head on into a swell, which kind of expected, but we're doing well. We're making good speed over ground. We're just slightly off on a track, but it doesn't matter too much. We've got the tide with us down the coast towards Lindisfarne, and yeah, it's going well. Getting the odd wave come over. We've got about 5 hours of this. 5 hours of this up to Lindisfarne.
So it's extremely damp in here today, and it smells of gone off milk because I had a bit of a situation with some spilled milk. And they say don't cry over spilled milk, but it's not the spilling of the milk that's the issue, it's the smell afterwards that I have a problem with. So the spillage happened there, and I think it went into that locker, or various lockers. I've cleaned out as much as I can, but it still smells, so I don't know. I think I'm going to have to empty everything out and just rinse it out with Dettol or something, because I can't get rid of the smell. And last night in here, I could barely breathe. It was horrible.
So I had a feeling it was going to be a bit of a wet locker day today. I think on the other tack, when I go about, it's my deck joint's really not that great, and yeah, it is what it is. I could probably put a bit more sail up, but the thing is, it's just going to become a lot more uncomfortable, and yeah, I want to try and keep the deck joint out of the water if possible. So just passing Berwick-on-Tweed now. The seas have moderated slightly, which is good. I've shaken out the second reef. I didn't need that. Oh god. Now we're just on the approach of Lindisfarne, Holy Island. Any Vikings fans or Last Kingdom fans, this is sort of where it all starts, with the Viking landings. Britain, historians love this place. We've got the Farne Islands just over there, where St Cuthbert has his chapel.
And I'm really looking forward to this place, not just because I'm going to be anchoring for the next couple of nights, which I've not been doing an awful lot of, and could do with the rest from the harbour fees, but I definitely want to have an explore around this place. We've got some high winds coming up in a couple of days, so I'll keep out of the way of them for a bit, and then the wind changes to come off the land, which is when I'm going to be starting making my way south again. I've had a few waves come over. That was choppy as hell coming out of Eyemouth. So just coming up to the entrance to Lindisfarne. There's this scary here with a cardinal marker marked next to it. You'll want to end up on that on a dark night, that's for definite. Just coming up to the entrance now. It's got this cardinal marker up in front. And let's start making our way in. I don't know how tidal this is going to be. I expect it's going to be very tidal. It's absolutely lovely. It's one of the top places I wanted to visit for the Round Britain Challenge. And here we are, finally coming up to it. Pretty lively water coming out of here. It's coming down to 3.5 knots now. It's quite strong. I think putting my anchor down is going to be interesting. Okay, morning all. Here we are, Lindisfarne. This is a wild place. Holy Island. I came in here last night against quite a strong tide, slightly missed that. Bedded down the anchor, all 40 metres, and yeah, on the turn of the tide during the night, I think my snubber detached from the chain and subsequently kept me up for the rest of the morning. So the chain was banging around and rattling. I've got another boat, just one other boat here, happens to be from Woodbridge, which is quite interesting. Just had a chat with him last night, just wanted to know what the holding ground was like along this stretch. He said it was pretty good. So I was hoping to get ashore, but I think my dinghy, this wind is increasing during the day, and it's going to be up for a good 18 hours. Obviously we're not going anywhere. It's pretty much off the coast, or off the sea, sorry. And yeah, it's going to be a bit lumpy here, I think. But yeah, look at this. This is one of these places I've been wanting to visit all along, and now I'm finally here. I want to look at this place, it's pretty special. mate here. Hello. Whee. Come say hello. Oh, he's gone again. They get really close sometimes. Quite a windy morning, day ahead. Hasn't stopped people from coming out to Holy Island out. I've got the dinghy out and I'm gonna try and make it ashore somehow. I think going into those rocks is going to be a bit interesting. And my mate the seal is there. I don't know what he wants. Probably food. So just rode over here and carried the dinghy up on my head because it's that light. It's quite cool. Using these boat hulls, making sheds out. Genius. Well, I came up here, but it's closed. Pretty impressive. Lindisfarne mead. Well, I've only been gone for a couple of hours. Already the tides come up pretty quick. It's going to be pretty strong here. Just got to avoid some of these rocks. Well, that was a hell of a row to get back out here. I'm a pretty good rower, but that is a strong flood going on right there now. And even the bull seal was, I think, struggling to come and get me. He's around here somewhere. He was over there a little while ago. Where is he gone now? I had a nice look around Lindisfarne. It's really busy, plenty of people coming to have a look. The castle, however, the fort wasn't open, but I managed to get into a few other places, one of which was this mead shop. Yeah, Lindisfarne mead. Don't know if you've ever had mead, but it's like a really sweet kind of wine, so yeah, kind of bought some of that. And I also bought some Lindisfarne IPA, which I'll give it a go. A lot of the visitors are just left because they had to catch the tide across the causeway. There's a causeway that links Holy Island, and if they can't get across it, then they're basically stuck here. So yeah, sometimes you see people like cut out with cars like halfway across the causeway, and it's quite a long stretch of road. So they have like outposts or like emergency platforms. So if they get stuck out on the causeway, they like climb up the tower and they can stay there. But it is all open, so if they go up there, they're like stuck there for like 9 or 10 hours or something. It's ridiculous. And yeah, they have to stay there until the tide goes down, and then they can get back in the car. But obviously by that stage the car's pretty done. So yeah, you do see it happen, and there's like reminders of it all around like the village, and with like the tide times and stuff like that. But it's surprising how many people were still just like dotting about, and I guess they're on holiday, have got like holiday homes here or whatever. But yeah, I was surprised. I came back to my dinghy and the water was it was probably another hour, and I reckon that the water would have been up to it, and I've only left it for like maybe 3 hours. So yeah, I went ashore at low water as well, so it's come up pretty quick, which is impressive. Yeah, St Cuthbert's Island just over there. I had people walking around on it not so long ago, and literally like an hour and a half ago, and that's now cut off, so you wouldn't want to get stuck out on that. That'd be a bit bad. So it's getting pretty misty out there. This wind isn't as strong as what I thought it was going to be. quite well protected here, even though the wind is coming straight in. It's strange. I think a lot of the banks are sort of stopping the swell, or the majority of the swell, into the actual river or estuary. But yeah, we're starting to. There's quite a lot of murk offshore, and yeah, we've lost sight of the Barn Islands now. Can't see them anymore. It's quite a large bull seal that's been following me around when I've got into the dinghy. And the first time I was going to go up to the jetty, which is quite a lot more rowing, and as I was going there, he just kind of poked his head out of the water about a metre behind the rib, and I was like, that's not good. So then he started like swimming alongside and looking at me, all blowing out through his nostrils. It's a little disconcerting. So I came back and then ended up going like the shortest route to the beach. Yeah, just kind of didn't want to get boarded by a bull seal. Just wouldn't be too clever. I'm not sure about towing the dinghy behind actually. I might try and get on board and yeah, chill out or whatever, but it'll definitely sink it if it tries to do that. I've just got this this anchor alarm set. Obviously I'm well aware that it's very tidal here, but I think I put down about, well, it was 40 metres, and we're just sat at 35 metres constantly from the chain right now, so yeah, got about a 15 metre tolerance if we start to go. Just trying to dry some stuff out. This is a lot of stuff from the fore peak, which is soaking wet. I think my hatch is leaking slightly. I need to put some more grease on it.
2:30 in the morning. And yeah, we've got a lot of wind and rain. And then in a minute, boat's swaying all over the place. Oh my god. And I think this weather system is moving over pretty quickly. So we got gusts up to 30 knots out there at the minute, and it's due to last for a little longer. When the rain starts to ease off and the wind backs, then we know it's going over, and then it should start to ease off. We'll see. Proper horrible out there. Just packed everything away just in case I need to get into the cockpit, because those are never going to dry overnight. Well, it's 6 o'clock and last hour the tide has just changed, so we've got now this wind over tide effect, which I was probably most concerned about. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's not great. I think this low pressure system's still moving itself over the top, so we've still got gusts up to sort of 25 knots now and then. It's just choppy horribleness. So the tide is starting to have a greater effect here now. I can just see that by the chart plotter and the anchor, and the fact that we're facing the other way against the wind. So yeah, this wind is going to start to back round to the south, and then eventually round to sort of like more of the southwest, slightly more south. So yeah, it'll be a slightly different situation. It's going to remain reasonably strong, although not as strong as this morning. So, you should see the inside of the cabin. I've not really slept over the last sort of 2 to 3 hours, just because of this knocking and mentalness. But the snubbers on the chain have really helped. So last night it was nowhere near like these sort of conditions, and it was making a hell of a noise. You could hear every single rumble from the chain. But having those snubbers on has quietened that down. You can just make out a slight rumble, but it's because the fixing point is below the water line. It's
It's really taken all the sound out, which is great. Probably pick up some sort of alien species in the sound that anchor ball's making right now. Well, the wind has picked up again, this time from the southwest. I moved Katrina a little while ago because we got a really low water. We were just anchored over there, and I've just brought her out like a couple of hours ago. I'm really glad I did, because it's absolutely howling now, and that's a lee shore, that. So yeah, as expected, back up to 18 gusting 28 at the minute, and expected to carry on like this all the way until sort of 7 o'clock this evening. But the visibility has improved a heck of a lot. The sun's out as well, and the air feels, it's a lot warmer, a lot warmer. I was going to get the dinghy out today and do some more exploring, but I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe this evening, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Bloody howling now. Really going for it. It's one of the lower tides that they've had. This is the spring low, so it's 0.6 above chart datum. There's a lot of stuff I can see which wasn't there yesterday. I'm quite glad that I moved. I probably would have touched, and with this swell coming into this side of the estuary, it's not it wouldn't have been a good idea at all. Seagrass coming up through my kitchen sink. We're at high water, wind over tide, and it's blowing constantly 23 knots. The boat has been heeled over constantly. We are holding it ground, which is good, but Christ, it's uncomfortable. It's surprising how much swell that is kicked up with a strongish southwesterly across this estuary here. As you can see, you're just getting thrown around. Have been all afternoon. This is going to continue on until 7 o'clock, I think, 6 or 7 o'clock. Well, hopefully when the tide changes and the wind and the tide are together, it should settle out a bit, I'm hoping. But at the minute, I mean, I've just made a really nice fish Thai curry, and I feel quite sick. So I had my anchor ball up, and it just disappeared. I'm not sure what to do, to be honest. There's nothing I can do except hold on and wait for the tide to change. But this wind is getting stronger. It's not reducing at all. Not good. It was meant to be a nice trip to Lindisfarne. Wow, looks like we got a visitor for this evening. Like a brigantine or something. Impressive. Well, it's settled down quite nicely now. Tide's running out and we haven't got any more swell. The wind's also dropped quite nicely. I might be able to get some decent kip tonight. So tomorrow, head further south. I am thinking of getting straight on to Whitby, but failing that, I'll call into Amble. Whitby's about 19 hours from here, whereas the Amble Marina is about 6, I think. But the entrance there is a little bit restrictive. There's only 0.2 of a metre chart datum there, so it'll have to be an entrance sort of either side of high water, something like that. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's a massive colony of seals, I think. Been getting louder and louder throughout the morning. Start the passage to Whitby. It's about 65 nautical miles, so for land about 18 hours, which brings us in there around about expected time early hours of tomorrow morning. And yeah, that's the high water. So wind is quite light, but yeah, I expect it to maybe pick up a little bit during the course of the afternoon. It's all off the land, which is perfect. And where I am now, the sort of angle is kind of more to the sort of like southeast, if you like, so we should have a good tack onto the wind with that. So I spent 3 nights here, and that solar panel's really helped. I've been able to charge the eco flow unit straight from the 12 volt using the 12 volt cable that it comes with. I've just got my little 12 volt cigarette socket there. It takes obviously a little longer to charge than using the 240, but if you've got good sun on that 100 watt panel, it'll do that fine within sort of like 2.5 hours sort of thing, you know, from sort of 30 to 40%. So yeah, self-sufficient in the way of power now, which is fantastic. It's just what I wanted, really. And I'm able to power my laptop, recharge my laptop with that, and my phones and all that good stuff, which is superb. So I've just been doing a bit of editing, managed to upload the video. There's just enough signal here to do it, so that's fantastic. Okay, off we go. Anchor was pretty well bedded in, full of kelp when I brought it up. Coming up to Banbury Castle. This is a huge castle, this one. So, fully canvassed, wind just off the land, beautiful, really nice sailing conditions. Plenty of these guys to look out for. It's coming past the Barn Islands. Still a bit of adverse tide. Gusty conditions here. Straight off the land, we're doing really well, 5.5 knots. Just slightly reefed the Genoa because it's becoming a little bit of a handful. But we're doing really well, 5.5 knots, 6 knots. Yeah! Okay, super sailing conditions at the minute. Got about a force 4 stroke 5 on the nose. Hebridean's doing okay, but we've got quite a lot of gusts coming off the land, and it's just pulling the boat all over the place, and it takes a little while for it to kind of react, and we seem to be cutting more closer to the shore. So I've just been messing around with sail plan and just trying to balance it up as best as possible, because if there's too much weather helm on it, when you get the gusts, it'll just throw off the wind bait. So it's, even though it's a nice wind strength and it's a good direction, even though it might be a little bit too much on the nose, it is gusty, and it's throwing off throwing us off our heading now and then. It's quite a smart castle over there. Ruins of an abbey or something. So we're doing pretty well. We're just about 5 miles offshore, or beam amble at the minute. Making good progress. We've now got the tide with us as well, so we're doing a good 6 knots over ground. Now my destination is Whitby, but if we do get there a bit earlier, there's a bay just to the north of it, Brunswick Bay. So if I do get there before high water, I think I will probably hang out in there until it slackens off, because the tide can sort of flow quite strong across the entrance of Whitby. So making excellent progress, doing about 6 and a bit knots over ground almost constantly now, which is excellent. Just avoiding a few lobster pots which are scattered around, but they seem to be thinning out a bit now. There is slightly stronger conditions sort of between now and 8 o'clock, but it's all off the land, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then it's easing off to about maximum 14 to 15 knots all the way through the night, which is absolutely beautiful. It's just what we need. Now I've just run a quick speed distance calc. We probably estimate if we can maintain 5 knots between now and Whitby, we're looking at an arrival time of around 5 o'clock. So yeah, that's extremely good. Currently fully canvassed. I'm just spilling the main a little bit because I don't want to go out on deck again and reef. And this is only meant to last for another couple of hours, and then it's easing off again. So I've already reefed and then taken out the sail like twice or 3 times already. I'm not going back off on deck again. But it's quite strange because the wind suddenly drops like to sort of 10 knots. It'll be up at like 16, 17, and then it'll just drop off to about 10 again. So there's quite a few wrecks around on this 40 metre contour. There's bloody loads of them. Well, there's a wind farm down here which we need to avoid as well. The forward deck has turned into a bit of a washing machine. So it's been a pretty amazing day. We've covered a lot of ground. Considering I left at 11 o'clock, didn't get underway until about 12, so 7 hours. Yeah, we've covered 42 miles in that time, which is pretty impressive. I'm happy with that. Just done a recalc. I've got 38 miles to run, so if I can keep this speed up until 10 o'clock, then that gives us like 20 miles to run to Whitby. So yeah, we're definitely looking at getting in there sort of a lot earlier than sort of planned. So what I might do is just park up in this bay and then maybe just get my head down for a couple of hours. That is an amazing sunset, by the way. It is easing now. We've got probably an evening of nothing more than sort of gusts of 14 knots, but we'll still make a good speed through the water with that. Well, this is how we cook next to the sea. Just vegetarian again tonight. I've started off with ravioli, and then I've started throwing all sorts of bits of stuff in there. There's tin of tomato, chopped tomatoes in there, and then what else did I put in there? Oh yeah, just some of these pasta shells. I had like I found like half a packet of these pasta shells in there, so I put them in there, and then a few habanero chili flakes, and then some oregano, and it's actually tasting pretty good now. Nowhere near as bland as just ravioli on its own, so I've got enough there for probably 2 meals tonight, so I'll just let that cool off a bit, have half, and then leave the rest in the pot, I think. Set that is just disappeared over the horizon now. You just see some of the little lights coming on the case. I better put mine on at some point. Off wind for the Hebridean tonight, so nearly not that much hand steering, and definitely not the tiller pilot, so that's good. We'll be taking on a bit of water here. I'll flush it out and monitor it, but that's a lot more water than I'd expect normally. I've been seeing a few big splashes in the water, really big splashes, so I don't know whether we're in sort of whale territory or not, I'm not sure, but better put on my nav light. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning, we're about 10 miles off from Whitby. Not feeling too bad actually. I've had a few little naps, but the increased shipping in the area is kind of keeping the CPA alarm going off quite regularly, so having to keep getting up for that and checking what's going on. There was one about an hour and a half ago, passed quite close, and I could just see him coming, like, and I was thinking, oh, this is bad, so I went to go fire up the engine, and then he was coming down here so quick with the tide, so he was past us before I even consider sort of moving out of the way. But yeah, so we've got about 10 miles to run to Whitby. Expected to be there about 7 o'clock in the morning at this speed, so yeah, we'll see what happens. It's not been too bad a night at all, really. A bit light in wind, but yeah, the night has been pretty amazing. The bioluminescence has been absolutely unbelievable. I've not seen anything like it on this trip so far. I think the nearest was Irish Sea, but literally, like, if you look at the back end of the boat, it's just like a massive long trail of light. It's amazing. And when I went to go start the engine earlier for that boat, I opened up the locker and it was just like there was so much light being activated in the well that it was lighting up the entire locker. It was crazy. Yeah, never seen anything like that before. 20 to 6, and I've just had to come inshore a little bit because we'd lost the wind angle and strength further out, so just come in and found some, but there's lots of lobster pots there. I was a bit reluctant to get close, but I think we're okay. It's not as bad. They're quite well marked around here. Just going up to Whitby. Probably quite a lot of wind noise because it's quite windy. Just called up the Harbour Master, Whitby LPS. They're giving me clearance to come in, and then I've got a request clearance through the bridge. Alright, just going up to the entrance. Probably want to start concentrating a bit here now. Yeah. mysterious tombs at Whitby Abbey. Maybe one of them's Dracula. This would have been the north entrance. From up here. Just in case you've got something to sort out.
So here's the apprenticeship home of Captain James Cook, who undertook voyages to the many uncharted parts of the world not much more than 200 years ago. In 1745, when he was 16, Cook moved 20 miles to the fishing village of Staithes to be apprenticed as a shop boy to grocer and haberdasher William Sanderson. Historians have speculated that this is where Cook first felt that lure of the sea while gazing out the shop window. After 18 months not proving suited for shop work, Cook travelled to the nearby town of Whitby to be introduced to Sanderson's friends John and Henry Walker. The Walkers, who were Quakers, were prominent local ship owners to the coal trade. The house is now Captain Cook Memorial Museum. Cook was taken on as a merchant navy apprentice in their small fleet of vessels, plying coal along the English coast. His first assignment was aboard Collier Freelove, and he spent several years on this and various other coasters, sailing between Tyne and London. As part of his apprenticeship, Cook applied himself to the study of algebra, geometry, trigonometry, navigation and astronomy, all skills he would need one day to
After serving in the Merchant Navy, Cook joined the Royal Navy in 1755. He saw action in the 7 Years' War and subsequently surveyed and mapped much of the entrance to the St. Lawrence River during the Siege of Quebec, which brought him to the attention of the Admiralty and the Royal Society. This acclaim came as a crucial moment for the direction of British overseas exploration, and it led to his commission in 1768 as commander of HMS Endeavour for the first of 3 Pacific voyages. It was in these voyages Cook sailed thousands of miles across largely uncharted areas of the globe. He mapped lands from New Zealand to Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean in greater detail and on a scale not previously charted by Western explorers. He surveyed and named features and recorded islands and coastlines on European maps for the first time. Displayed a combination of seamanship, superior surveying and cartographic skills, physical courage and an ability to lead men in adverse conditions. In 1779, during Cook's third exploratory voyage in the Pacific, tensions escalated between his men and natives of Hawaii. An attempt to kidnap one of the chieftains led to the death of Cook. He left a legacy of scientific and geographical knowledge and influenced a lot of success as well into the 20th century. Numerous memorials worldwide have been dedicated to him.
Where these steps are going, and just found that little tunnel back there. That's pretty cool. I think it just goes back down onto the main bank.
I had a proper good look around Whitby today. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty nice, busy as well. And I'm just doing a few bits of editing. I've got a pizza here, doing a Barry Sea Dog on it, and then later on I'm going to go and participate in a ghost walk from 8 o'clock onwards. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Being famous for the likes of James Cook, RNLI Captain Henry Freeman, Jetstone and Dracula, Whitby also has a prominent number of ghost stories, with most being fully supported by residing locals. Many of the buildings that are now thriving bars, restaurants and holiday homes once having been mortuaries and brothels. The stories of individual misfortunes from these rugged times are enough to keep you awake for probably more than just a few nights.
Whitby yesterday. There's like loads of stuff to be doing. Went up to the Abbey, which was pretty smart, and just had a look around sort of like the church graveyard and like all down there. It's kind of like old cobbly streets and stuff. I went on a ghost walk last night, which was pretty funny. But there was like loads of like information of like the history that took place here, sort of like up to sort of 300 years ago, which was pretty smart.
They're just walking along this pathway along the River Esk. Not sure where exactly it goes. So I'm just going to follow the train line as far as I can go and then get the train back to Whitby, I think. I love the smell of these trains when they go past. Just coming up to the crossing, just gotta wait, clear. Guess we're going across that field. Been walking for a while. Just came through that field. So all these fields are ready to be baled up by the looks of it. Just saw the farmer and his dogs. Came out to say hello. It's quite nice. One of them couldn't stop barking at me though. Probably best I left. Around that whole field though, and literally had to just go down one side of it. But yeah, back on the path again. Got a little bit rural back there.
So the battery died on the camera, so ended up getting back to Whitby, having another bit of a look around, and made my way to the pub where there was some entertainment on.
Yes! We are on a pub crawl all the way down from Baker. It's been one heck of a trail.
And those are real swords they're dancing with. You can tell by the way that they bend at a 90-degree angle.
I am sorry about the smell. I am sorry. I'm sorry about the smell. Sporty! Scary! Posh! Ginger! This one is Old Spice. Old Spice, here it is.
Many thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next video I'm going to be making my way out from Whitby and towards Lowestoft back to East Anglia. That is like quite a long trip, that one, 37 hours. So yeah, I'll get that posted sort of over the next couple of days. I am now back home. I have completed my circumnavigation and it feels extremely good and I am over the moon. So yeah, on to the Cancer Research UK fundraiser. It's doing extremely well. Many thanks for all your support. There's been some awesome comments and donations made on my fundraiser page. So yeah, massive thumbs up. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'd ever raised that much money for the cause. So yeah, and it's all thanks to you guys and girls. So I can only thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if anyone wants to donate, then I'll leave the link in the descriptions box below as normal and give it a look. And any donations made, massive thanks. Cheers.